All right, it is 12:04 on a game day, and she's a big one. Game 4 tonight. Down in the district, Rogers Place, Oilers and Dallas Stars. The Oil Stream presented to you by our wonderful partners over at Boston Pizza. Playoff menu is now available, featuring the halftime square footer, flight of wings, the triple play platter, and the new Chipotle chicken quesadillas. Fuel your fandom at Boston Pizza. Tommy the Wrench, what's going on, buddy?
Ahoy, hoy. What a day. So many things happening. So many things.
How was it down there today, buddy?
Hey, good and fun. That was one where you're like, whoa. Knobloch kind of not hinting, but hinting at things. And then you had Skinner and McDavid talking before we went into the room. And then we get into the room and the request for Nurse, CC, and then Broberg. And Darnell's waiting there. Everybody goes to him first. I'm like, okay, I'm not getting in the scrum because there's a million people. We have our methods of getting the interviews. And I take a picture of the scrum. I'm like, whoa, holy. And I'm like, is he short answering everyone right now? And so he's feisty, obviously.
We've got it. We're going to get to that here on the Oil Stream today for sure.
And I got a picture. I'm like listening. I'm like, he is short answering them. The trainers, I'm talking to Brad Harrison and Shane Olmstead from the equipment staff, and they're like, I think they knew because they kind of were like by the scrum and they were like this listening.
Yeah.
And I was trying to talk to them and they're like, hang on, Tom, hang on. So they knew it was coming, and I knew because I've known them forever. So when they get like that, they know it's coming. So it's a bit calculated, right?
Yeah.
And I could see their little snickers, and I was like, you dicks, come on. And Darnell's been a grumpy, ornery guy with the media the last, I would say, 2 years. He used to be awesome to deal with. And listen, I knew him working for the team, so you obviously have a different perspective.
Different tie with him there, yep.
But even during our time at TSN, Dusty, he was fantastic to deal with. He was one of the guys that my first day with TSN when I was filling in for Schauger, he was like, oh, Tom. So I've always had this good thing with him. And then there's been a few times this year where I'll be like, what's up, big boy? How's dad life? And it's not the same. And so I think, a lot of things probably culminate to get him to the point where he was at today, where he was like, F this, I'm not giving them anything. I'm pissed off. I'm playing like crap. And we get the less than a minute interview, if that, with short answers, and then a thanks, guys, and he ducks out.
Zach, do we have that? Do you have that? We're talking about it right now. We might as well just get to it, continue with the conversation. If you're listening on TuneIn, iHeart, or at EdmontonSportsTalk.com, you can text us at 780-218-9999. If you're watching over on YouTube, obviously hammer the thumbs up for us. Subscribe to the channel as well. We would appreciate that. If you're wondering what exactly Darnell Nurse did or did not say today, it was quick. It was tight. Here's what he said or didn't say. Here it is.
Tonight, but if he does, what have you sort of seen from him and the time that he's been here, the work he's been putting in, being patient?
Yeah, really good player. He's ready.
Do you have confidence that he can, come?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Really good player.
What is it about his game, Darnell, that you think makes him ready?
He can skate, physical, can make plays.
Connor was talking about you don't necessarily want your back against the wall, but how the team has kind of responded to elimination games. Last series down 2-1 to Vancouver. What would you say about the team doing that when it is a difficult stretch?
We're good with our back against the wall.
Obviously, any team can play well at this time of year. When Dallas has a push like they did in the second period, what are just some of the keys to stopping it, a little sooner than the other game?
Playing hard. Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
All right, so there you go. There's Darnell Nurse, his media availability today. Tommy, I have to know, what was the vibe among those in the scrum when he said thanks, guys, and walked out of the scrum?
I think some guys and girls were surprised. Others kind of laughed. It was just like, oh, okay then. And I was talking with Daniel Nugent-Bowman after in the Stars room, ironically, and he was like, well, that was interesting. And he's like, Schauger trying to throw him softballs, trying to get, because like that's the strategy, right? You throw a few softies, then you come in with the fastball.
They were all
right?
pretty basic questions, right? They were trying to get him going. They're trying to get an answer out of him. Yeah.
And he wasn't giving them squat. So it was kind of like a little bit of laughter. Sure, there's some frustration. Yes, this is the time of year where the gamesmanship occurs between teams, between coaches, between players and media, players through media. Like that's when all of this happens. So that falls into that category. And then at the end of the day, I think entertaining, and then people speculated. And the other thing too, reaction wise, Dusty, because we didn't go out onto to look on what was going on with the optional skate to see who was actually on the ice.
Yeah.
So we didn't know that, Broberg, Carrick, and who was it? Broberg and Fogle were still doing extra work out there. And that Perry, McLeod, and obviously Broberg weren't on the ice. So that hadn't set in among the media conglomerate. So we're talking, and I was like, if they healthy scratch him, because he was so off standoffish, if you will. We're like, if they scratch him, that'd be a hell of a message to send. But yeah, it was kind of a fun, like tense 10 minutes. And then we saw who was on the ice, who was staying out late. And we're like, okay, now we know what the changes are going to be. So yeah.
Tommy, so I mean, I see a few people in the chat. I see a few people in the text. Obviously, Darnell Nurse frustrated probably he's frustrated with where they're at in the series right now. Frustrated if he pays attention at all to what anybody says about him. He'd be frustrated about that.
Clearly he does.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
It's pretty obvious.
Obviously he does because,
Yes.
So, I mean, kind of immature to handle things that way today. Or, like, would you like to see him as a guy who's been here for as long as he's been here and has the role on the team that he has and can't be thinking, like, I'm playing well, this is unfair criticism. Like, that can't possibly be where his head's at right now.
He's been bad.
I mean, what is your overall view on how he handled things today?
I would like, in a perfect world, for him to stand up there and face the music and give nice, eloquent answers like he has in the past, like he's capable of doing. He's a very smart man. He is sharp. He is articulate. And when he's dialed in, he is an effective NHL defenseman. These are facts. I know people are like, oh, he sucks. He's not worth $9.25 million. That aside, like, listen, I know, I get it. But I have no issue with how he handled it today. Is it kind of, it's not immature, but it's kind of a not clown, but it's kind of a, like, all right, Darnell, like, we get it, kind of whatever, fine, be that way. And obviously, like I said before, a lot of it culminates in that response from him. But yeah, the thing he can do is go out there and have the best game of his season tonight.
He has to. Like,
that answers a lot of things.
Well, and it's like that was going to be my next question here. And you're listening to the Well Stream on Edmonton Sports Talk. Tell your friends about EST. We would appreciate it. Like, if he goes out and has a dud tonight after what he said after last game, what he didn't say today, the fact that he's minus 12 so far in the playoffs and has been on the ice for 18 goals against, and there was a good piece from Heavy Hockey that broke it down to point out the mistakes and all, but let's be honest, he's not having a good playoffs. He's minus 12. He's got 2 assists. Like, he's certainly, he might not be having as bad of playoffs as we've viewed his play recently, but he's not having anywhere close to a good playoff right now. So, like, how important, considering what's on the line for the team, and the situation that Nurse finds himself in last night. I don't know if you, or right now, I don't know if you saw on Hello Hockey, or not Hello Hockey. That's good branding. It's in my head, Hello Hockey.
A great show, I will say.
Great
I'm
show.
Totally biased.
But on That's Hockey, on TSN last night, Bruce Boudreau was on with Gino Reda. And he asked him, he goes, if you were a coach, like, what would you do with Darnell Nurse right now? And Bruce said he'd give him, like, offensive zone starts and shelter him against the weaker competition. And I'm like, so that's the view of Darnell Nurse right now.
Yeah.
And then he acts the way he acted today. If he goes out and lays a dud and they lose tonight, man, this game sticks for him. It sticks with him forever. Forever.
Yep.
Like, it's a tough spot to be in, man. And he's put himself in this spot. So
Right. Oh, he likes backs against the wall type of scenarios. He's got his back against the wall. The team could be backs against the wall as a collective unit. All he can do and what he needs to do is have the best game of his season tonight. I'm sure he's motivated to. If he doesn't, it's all egg on his face.
yeah, I hope
For
for,
acting
I,
the
I
way
hope
he
for
has,
his sake
playing
he
the way
does.
he has.
The team needs
Yeah.
it. Like,
Yep.
he's got to have a game tonight. Now,
Absolutely.
this continues the conversation on the blue line. And, of course, you can text us, 780-218-9999, 780. You know what? Let's just get to a couple of text messages on this quickly, just to kind of wrap the Nurse thing and then talk about what's the rest of the blue line going to look like. Propane Pimp says, zero issue with what he said today. Nothing he could/would say would make me feel better about his game right now. It all comes down to how he performs on the ice. If he sounds pissed off, good. Bring it. So we'll see. We'll see.
That's it. And Propane Pimp's right. At the end of the day, bring it. That's it. That's it.
Joe says Darnell Nurse is the most stuck up out of all of them. I met him one time with my kids, and he just said, "How are you doing?" And he totally ignored me and gave me a stupid look. I kind of wanted to fight him. Joe, I don't think that would have gone over well. I don't think that would have gone over well. But
That's a tough kid from Hamilton.
Yeah. Man, Jared says, I just wish he would have ended today with "It's hockey, it happens." Man, I would have from the level of legendary troll job moves. He would have had my respect forever. He would have had my respect forever if he dropped a "It's hockey, it happens, thanks guys," and walked out today. My God, that would have that would have at least been genuinely hilarious.
Yeah.
So that's a good one. Okay, so here's another text, though. 780-218-9999. That guy wearing an A is one of the major reasons this team has never reached its full potential. I'll be so happy when he is traded in the offseason for cap space. So, listen, we've said it all along. We're not having offseason discussions when they're in the middle of a conference final. So, we'll come back around to all of that. I mean, if this series ends in 5 games, there's going to be a spotlight on everybody. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
That's a pipe dream, by the way. Good luck with that. Dream on.
Yeah, there's no chance. There's less than a zero chance that would happen. Less than a zero chance. I'd be stunned. I mean, just not going to happen.
Dare to dream, Arnold.
All right,
Dare
so
to
on
dream.
the back end, looks like Broberg will be in. Desharnais will be out.
Yeah.
Tommy, I don't know if you heard anything down there today, but are they going to go Kulak Nurse and then Broberg Cece? Or
I don't
are you
know.
going to go, because there's 3 ways you can go here. If you go Broberg, because he hasn't played like a really meaningful game for the team since November, if I don't count Colorado and Arizona at the end of the year and nothing burgers, you put him with Kulak, veteran guy, you find them their minutes, and try to go about your business. But then that means you're putting Nurse and Cece back together. And Nurse and Cece has been the least competent defensive pair in the entire playoffs.
Yeah, I know.
In the entire league. So you're like, okay, well, that's not a great idea. You could go Broberg with Nurse. I don't think that'd be fair to him. So I mean, Broberg on the left with Cece on the right, play Kulak up with Nurse. Do you think that makes the most sense? Or where's your head at on how the bottom 4 blue liners are going to look?
I'll preface it with this. I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what the plan is. Bruce Boudreau saying that he would protect Darnell Nurse because of his weak play goes back to when you and I were talking about, would you now elevate Kulak to second LD, Nurse now demoted to 3 LD, and then you figure out that right side? I don't like this, but what if, and Broberg does play the right side, has before, how effectively, debatable. What if Darnell Nurse is now your 3 LD and the right side guy is Philip Broberg and they barely play tonight? They play 10 minutes. And then you go Kulak, Cece, and you hope to God that it is way better than Nurse Cece has been or Nurse Desharnais. That's a what if. I don't know. Again, I don't think, and I'm saying this, why would you sacrifice, first of all, you're not sacrificing Echo and Bouchard. They're out there, big minutes. They're out there against the best competition. They're out there with McDavid's line basically the whole time, right? So if you split those 2 up, because you've got 3 pairings that you're just like, I don't know if these pairs are good.
Yeah.
Or you're Mark Stewart and your Paul Coffey and you're tap dancing shift to shift with your pairs. I don't know. I don't know, Dusty.
That's the one hesitation. Not that Desharnais I thought was way above expectations in the first 2 rounds.
Absolutely.
Dallas has definitely caused some issues for him, which would be why he looks like he's going to be the odd man out tonight. However, I mean, if Broberg is completely overwhelmed and you got to go down to 5D, you have no choice but to roll Nurse and CC out there quite often together. Right. And it's a little bit of a scary proposition. Like they are putting, what was the quote? Didn't you quote Knobloch today on Broberg? Like if he does get in tonight, we think he's, whatever it was, ready for the situation or.
Yeah. I was like, oh, that's a nice thing to say. He's well qualified to do it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, really?
Well, I mean, I would politely say that at the NHL level, he's not well qualified to step into Game 4 of the Western Conference Final and play, having not played a legitimate NHL game since November. Like that. Yeah. That doesn't sound like, and having not really shown in his NHL career so far that you're like, oh yeah, like lock this guy in. So it's a tough spot for Broberg to be, a very tough spot for Broberg to be in. If he performs well, man, that says a lot about what you might have in that guy.
Oh, agreed. Why did they keep him a hidden gem for so long if he's well qualified? I will enlighten all of us and remind all of us of his body of work, which has made him, quote unquote, well qualified for the postseason. 10 career postseason games played, plus 3, 4 penalty minutes, 631 time on ice per game, 3 shots. That's it. That has made him well qualified.
That's being buried in the old 11-7 setup, essentially, right?
That is correct.
Yeah.
He did take he took a bad penalty in Game 5 against Vegas last year. That was part of, and then Janmark took one. It wasn't a bad penalty. It was a bad call. Okay, it was a bad call, but it led to the sequence where they gave up the lead and ended up losing Game 5. That broke the camel's back. It gave the Golden Knights the confidence to beat the Oilers, and it was over here in 6. That is Philip Broberg's body of work in the postseason. If you're going, yeah, but he's great in the regular season. And for those that are wondering that, 81 games played in the National Hockey League spread over 3 seasons, 2 goals, none in this season, 11 assists, -5, 10 penalty minutes lifetime, 1242 averaging time on ice. He has 67 shots with a 3% shooting percentage. That is the well-qualified Philip Broberg. I liken this to putting Dylan Holloway in Game 4, backs against the wall against the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, yeah.
And he played a whopping 3 minutes.
Yeah. I mean, I hope you get more. I hope you get more from Broberg tonight than they were willing to even really roll out there for Holloway in that one. More of your thoughts on the blue line. Let's go 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Portions of the oil stream, as always, brought to you by Popeyes. The new crispy chicken buffalo wrap is now available. 2 classic hand-battered or breaded mild chicken tenders with bold buffalo sauce paired with fresh lettuce, tomato, mild or spicy mayo, wrapped in soft flour tortilla, available in-store or for delivery. So if you don't want to go out tonight, you just want to have it delivered, Popeyes will do that on DoorDash, Skip the Dishes, Uber Eats, all that stuff with Popeyes. And we had a few guys today texting in earlier today saying the buffalo poutine at Popeyes is absolutely delicious. So another option for you for lunch over there at Popeyes today. All right, let's see here. More of the comments. Brett B. over on the Nasty Chat. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, hammer the thumbs up. Subscribe to the Edmonton Sports Talk channel. We are just getting started over here. Brett B. says, top 4 has to be Nurse, Kulak, Bouchard, and Ekholm, and some combination of that. I did have somebody who replied to me on Twitter when I was like, what do you do here with Broberg? Like, where does he play? Somebody did reply and basically said, what about, and I just don't, like, is there any way they would split up Ekholm and Bouchard and put Nurse with Bouchard in a game like this? Or Ekholm to, like, protect Nurse and then let Kulak run with Bouchard? Like, what? I just don't. I don't think you touch.
Maybe.
Well, I mean, if you were
the fact,
yeah,
Dusty, the fact that we're at the point where we're thinking about that, just the one sentence and how you ended it, to protect Nurse is so. It should be ludicrous, but that is how bad it is.
It's right funny. Now the other comparison I got today in the morning show chat was the Oilers need Nurse to be Sergachev, right? He doesn't have to be Hedman. Ekholm and Bouchard can be some sort of combination of Victor freaking Hedman. You need him to be Sergachev, the other guy. And he just hasn't been able to be that so far. So, yeah, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999, and hit us up over in the nasty chat as well. Let's see here. This one is in. It says, why is it an emergency and so scary? At the beginning of the playoffs, it was all about how deep the Oil were. Now we need it. So be it. Let them buck. Well, we haven't even got to the changes up front. We'll get to that. We're just talking about on the blue line.
Yeah.
Let's see how it plays out. Right. So I don't know if the Oilers blue line, with the way Nurse and Ceci have played, can run a 12 and 5, like can just roll 5 guys and Broberg plays 6 minutes. I mean, I don't know. I think you would get more from Desharnais in 10 minutes than you get from Broberg in 6. So we'll see. I mean, it was funny because Desharnais almost had the game winner. Like banged one off a post, Imagine how different everything would be right now if that thing ends up finding its way to the back of the net, man. That's
we'd be like, oh, they're
crazy.
fine.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're doing just fine. I'm not worried about Darnell Nurse being not -12. Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap the blue line talk. Puck drop tonight. They rotate through the blue line. You get to see who comes over the boards with Darnell Nurse. It's Ceci, isn't it?
I would think so.
Yeah. Whew. You're playing with fire, man. Those two guys have to have an all-time game tonight for the Edmonton Oilers. I mean, unless the offense just takes over and they can kind of blow it up a little bit. All right. Let's get over to the changes up front. I mean, there would have been so much discussion about Nurse and Broberg down there at the rink today. I don't know how much you guys would have just BS'd about Ryan McLeod, and it looks like Corey Perry, Tommy. Like it's funny because Huss and I were just talking about in the lock shop. We talked about it yesterday after the game. Like their third and fourth lines weren't the issues last game.
No.
Right? It was McDavid and Nuge who were out there for Robertson's first 2 goals against. It wasn't like the Henrique line was getting caved or the fourth line wasn't. So to me, by bringing McLeod and Perry back in, I get it. I mean, you want to mess something up. So Carrick and Fogle come out. But I like the bottom 6 so far. I don't know. I might have just left the forward group as is, buddy, to be honest with you, and just told your top 6 to play better. Draisaitl doesn't have a point in 2 games, and McDavid and Nuge blew it last game.
Yeah. And I understand. Like they've been good, and we were talking about who's been the most consistent players in this series. Kind of like Connor Brown in the last 2 games and Matthias Janmark. But I suppose if you look at what would the rationale be for getting those guys in, well, one, Ryan McLeod had his reset and sat that last game. Okay, so in theory, he should be motivated to be better. Okay, let's see. He's going to get an opportunity to do it. Let's see if it happens. Corey Perry's been sitting for a little while. He's probably chomping at the bit to get back in there and prove that he's still a worthy playoff performer, even though he hasn't particularly had a strong postseason. Okay, go get it. Like this is kind of to stir the drink, get a little bit of a refresh in there. That's how I see it. And then the Oilers are hoping for a positive impact from those guys. And I'm with you. I think the bottom 6 has been adequate. It's been good. It's kind of been the better part of the lineup for this group the last 2 games.
They've outproduced Kane and Holloway in this series.
Absolutely, they have. But they are the bottom 6. And what does the bottom 6 go through? Changes. And whenever there's tinkering, it's usually those guys that get shuffled in and out. So we'll see.
The other element of it, and I don't know, I don't necessarily know if you like a little bit of this. And Perry, if he can get there, I think can do it. But Fogle and Carrick in the bottom 6 are their 2 most physical forwards. I mean, Fogle hasn't produced a lick, but at least he's still getting in and banging bodies. And Carrick was using his body to separate people from the puck. So I do think they're taking out their 2 most physical bottom 6 forwards. I don't know. I just don't know if that matters to a lot of people. McLeod's not coming in and providing any of that. And Corey Perry, when you get in on a cycle, can certainly cause some like this. I mean, if Corey Perry's got one last game in him and you've been saving it, it's time to probably throw it out there tonight, eh, Tommy?
Well, he should be more than rested and ready for it. And then maybe the other thing too, Dusty, is perhaps they see something in the bottom six from Dallas where they think that McLeod and Perry injection could give them a different look that might tilt the scales in their favor in the bottom 6 minutes when they go head-to-head with Dallas's bottom six. Now, do I disagree with that? Because I think Dallas's third line's probably better than Edmonton's? Yeah, probably. Slightly. But I think that those guys can be effective when they're on their game. And maybe they stack up better against Dallas's third and fourth lines. We'll see.
I don't think they do. I think that's probably wishful thinking.
My instinct is with you. Probably not. But
like right now,
prove us wrong.
Like who is Dallas's third line? Wyatt, Johnston, Stankoven, and Ben? Like, I'm sorry, but McLeod and whoever they're going to have in there, I mean,
not quite the same.
Yeah, because the other option would be like Matt Duchene, Pavelski, and Marchment. Like they're both second lines. It's just that third line is going to be matched up against a second line in the National Hockey League. So we'll see on that front. All right, 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Spency 5 cents he's in and says, guys, Corey Perry, anytime goal, plus 640. Over on Coolbet, so if you like that. We already on the lock shop today sprinkled Darnell Nurse 11-1. 11-1 for a Darnell Nurse redemption goal. So that way what you can say is you can tweet it out after and be like, always supported the guy, right? So it's a real easy one there as well. But we do have the EST parlay already up. The exclusive parlay is already posted over at Coolbet. So if you go to coolbet.com, click on exclusives, and then take a look at the parlay if you want to ride with us. When it was posted, I think it was plus 450. I can double check if it's moved right now, but it's not asking too much. It's a Draisaitl goal, a McDavid assist, and a Evan Bouchard point. And the Oilers to win. And yeah, it's still sitting at plus 450 over there. So plus 450, Draisaitl goal, McDavid assist, Bouchard point, and the Oilers to win. That is the discussion and the parlay over at Coolbet right now at coolbet.com. And if you're not yet signed up for an account, use the code LOCKSHOP when you do, and you'll get a 100% deposit bonus on your initial deposit up to 200 smackaroos. So, all right, let's see here. Okay, let's go to this one from Matthew. And fire us your questions in the nasty chat. If you're watching over on YouTube today, let's hammer the thumbs up for us. That would be great here on a game day or 57. Take a legitimate run at 100 likes, 100 thumbs up today on the nasty chat over here on the oil stream. Matthew says, coincidence, Holloway and Kane haven't done much of anything offensively the last couple of games, and neither has Draisaitl. Draisaitl held without a point in 2 games, Tommy. I believe Huss said on the lock shop today, first time that's happened, Draisaitl being held back-to-back pointless since the last 2 games of the Vegas series. So we know he's banged up from blocking that shot on his finger. But where are you at on Draisaitl, Kane, and Holloway? There's always going to be so much talk about Nugent, Hyman, and McDavid, and rightfully so. But that line, like the McDavid, Holloway, Kane line, should be able to win you a game at some point. Like that's a good line. So
yeah,
what are you seeing? Is it just, I mean, they just can't handle the matchups right now, or what?
It feels like, I'll start with Holloway. It feels like, it was good, really good. He was doing all right, and it's kind of petered off a bit. Kane comes and goes, and then Draisaitl's injury is definitely affecting him. His faceoffs aren't as good. I don't think his shooting has been particularly strong with that messed up finger. So I'm looking at that going, in theory, they should be okay, even with a banged up Draisaitl and evidently a Evander Kane dealing with sports hernia. But if, and as we're witnessing, Leon Draisaitl dealing with his hand/finger issue and having some struggles there, he can still be effective in different ways. Maybe he can bang and crash. Yes, maybe the one-timer isn't as potent as it was before. Maybe he can't fire it the same way. But he's got 2 guys that are capable of stirring the drink and providing the engine to the line. Like, maybe it's not just Leon being the driver. Maybe those 2 on his wings can pick up the slack and provide that extra little bit of hustle, be a twin engine type line and help their centerman out. But that line, with those three guys, should always be able to be effective offensively, reliable defensively. That is a good line. We've seen the emergence of Dylan Holloway. So, like the rest of the team, expect them to be better, more effective. But Dallas has done a good job of neutralizing them.
780-218-9999. Let's get to this one. Guys, the first, third, and fourth lines have been fine. It's Leon line that has let the team down along with the power play that hasn't produced. Yet the first line needs more attention to detail in their own zone, but has produced more goals than they've given up in games 1 and game 3. And that's, Nugent McDavid just have to be a little bit more careful with the puck, right? You cannot turn it over inside the blue line, and you cannot try to fly the zone at any moment. Like on that first Robertson goal, all three of those guys were up high at the blue line thinking that this thing was going to come and they were going to go the other way. And you're just like, not anymore. Like, be on the other side of Rupe Hintz in that situation. Or of Robertson in that situation,
The Nugent-Hopkins slide was an interesting defensive tactic, wouldn't you say?
On which one?
On the first one. He goes like sliding up high.
Oh, yeah, okay. On the first one or the second one?
I thought that was the first one. Maybe it was the second one. Anyway.
Either way, they needed to be better. Both those guys in the last game in their own end of the ice. I mean, offensively, they're going to do their thing. Okay, power play. I mean, I think it's interesting with the power play. Like, we know they're not going to get 4 or 5 power plays a game. That doesn't happen in the playoffs. But you got to take advantage of some of the ones that you do get, Tommy. And is there something that you're seeing, or that maybe they're talking about that Dallas is doing that's like causing issues for them, or is it just a lack of execution? You think on part of the best power play in the National Hockey League?
Let's look at what Dallas has been able to do, and it's abundantly clear. It's take away lanes. They take away shooting lanes, and they get sticks on pucks, and they're effective that way. But for whatever reason, it has almost caused Edmonton to overdo it with the cuteness, because I think we're still clamoring to see the Oilers simplify their power play and take the shots when they're there, and not try to force an extra feed over to Leon Draisaitl for that one time. We're like, these guys can all shoot the puck pretty good. They're all really good goal scorers. Maybe more shots. Yes, Dallas is making it difficult, but if you got that lane, take it. And that was something we talked about going into game 3 that Edmonton needed to do more of, and I still didn't feel like they did. And then even the one power play that the Oilers did get the other night, it almost seemed like they were so frustrated with how it was going in the offensive zone on the power play. Like their one zone entry late in the power play, I think Bouchard just gave it away. They didn't even bother with the slingshot. He just kind of skated up the ice and made a horrible pass, and then Dallas kind of took it and shot it back down the other way. And you're like, that was an awful decision, on top of the fact that it was a bad power play. I think that the theme for the power play would probably still be, let's simplify. Take the lane when it's there to fire the puck. Get in Ottinger's face. That shouldn't change. It's just, good on Dallas for getting sticks in. This was a Dallas penalty kill that was sub 70% going into this series. 5 for 5.
Yeah, I thought that was the one area that the Oilers would be able to maybe expose, because they just had not been. Now they were much better. Not that they were game breakers in the regular season, but their penalty kill was better in the regular season than it had been so far. But Colorado's power play managed to torch them. Vegas' power play managed to do really well against them. Like, what's going on here with the Oilers' power play that's coming in hot?
If I remember correctly, I don't think Vegas had a potent power play this past season. They had some struggles with it.
They were missing a bunch of guys, too, for most of the year. That would have been a power play, right? So
and they have a lot of weapons. Let's not be clear about that. But, there's no reason, in theory, going into this series outside of minimal power play opportunities because of Dallas's ability to stay disciplined, let's call it. You shouldn't take advantage. Like, I would expect that the Oilers at this point to be like 1 or 2 for 5, not 0 for with like just some weak attempts, essentially, in the last couple of games.
All right, let's do this. Let's get to your $100,000 hole-in-one with Gulf Town. We will give you the keyword. You'll have a chance to qualify. You'll be one of 4 qualifiers today here on the station. This is the final chance to qualify on the station today. And you will go into a draw. We'll draw one of the 4 names tomorrow morning. We will call that person, and they will get a swing at $100,000. Unless, of course, a person prior to them in the contest dunks it and puts it in and wins the $100,000. Then the $100,000, she gone. All right, so This will be our third qualifier or fourth qualifier of the day, trying to be the third winner in the contest. Brought to you by Golf Town. Swing big this Father's Day and find the perfect gift at Golf Town. Whether dad's a seasoned pro or he's just starting out, Golf Town has everything you need to hit the greens in style. From clubs and apparel to accessories, tech, and more, they got it all covered. Father's Day, give the gift of golf. Visit them in store or at golftown.com for more details. And Golf Town gift card, always a nice little Father's Day present for dad, and I can speak on that as a dad. I mean, I think it's a real nice gift card. So let's get to your keyword today here on the Oil Stream. All you do is text this in to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. Wedge. The word today is wedge. W-E-D-G-E. Wedge. Zacticum, do you have a wedge in your bag of clubs that you've put together from various thrift stores?
Yeah, I probably have it wedged somewhere, wherever. Yeah, I have a wedge of cheese.
Hey-o.
Good one, Zacticum. All right, wedge is your keyword today. Text wedge to 780-218-9999, 780-218-9999. One of you will be chosen. You'll go into a draw where you have a 25% chance at winning a chance to swing for or win the shot at $100,000 presented by Golf Town. Hope somebody nails that thing. That would be terrific. All right, more of your messages over in the Nasty Chat. Hey, if you're watching on YouTube, grab your phone and text the number, 780-218-9999. The keyword is wedge today. Casino Dealer Jay says, wedge wood. All right, that ties in there nicely right now. Rod Z says, guys, the turning point of Game 3 was McDavid missing that wide open net to make it 3-0. Fair point. I mean, of all the things that happened in that game, that's not one that I really circled around to the next day. But I mean, you would hope. Now, 3-goal lead hasn't been the safest lead for the Oilers in the playoffs, but I mean, you would have hoped that might have been enough, right, Tommy? Like,
I would like a 3-goal lead over a 2-goal lead any day of the week, regardless of how bad the team I cover is at holding those leads. And you know what? Again, we've reminded people that in this postseason, we've seen a lot of swings with big leads in the postseason. So
probably not as many as the Oilers.
I would take a 3-goal lead.
I could just see.
Well, the Oilers do it consistently, don't they?
there is a consistency in their game. They're great at getting the leads. They're just not great at holding the leads. So we'll see.
Not a good MO.
How do you what's your sense for tonight, Tommy? You think they come out and dominate the first again, and it's almost kind of a replay through the first 20 minutes of Game 3, and then they learn their lesson from Game 3 and continue to play well and win this hockey game? Or, I mean, with some of the changes to the lineup here, are you worried at all about them getting like if I asked Huss this today as like an outsider outside of the market, how does it look? Like, what do you think Dallas is thinking when you see the Oilers throwing in Broberg on the back end and bringing in 2 other guys up front? You're like, if I was in that Dallas Stars room, I'd be like, oh baby, like they're starting to be on edge here a little bit. And I think the pedal to the metal is going to be there from Dallas early. Like, part of me leans that Skinner's going to have to be excellent in the first period tonight.
100%. That's the first thing I thought of, because I think there might be some discombobulation for some of the guys that haven't played, especially a guy like Perry, and then Broberg, obviously, where that could lead to grade A chances where Skinner's going to have to stand on his head. I do anticipate the Oilers having a very strong start. Now, whether or not that leads to a 1-0 lead or a multi-goal lead, which they have blown many times in this postseason so far, that's yet to be determined. We shall see. But Chris Tanev was talking about it when he was made available. He said, we expect them to bring the house in that first. So Dallas will be ready for it. But if Edmonton can dictate that first 10, 15 minutes and get a lead, great. But Dallas is not going to be panicked. Dallas is going to be calm. I talked to Alex Petrovic today, and that's coming up on the Rink Report, by the way.
Oh, nice.
Had a great chat with the pride of the North Side. And he said that when they were down 2-0, there was just a calmness. They just went back to work, and they knew they were going to get their opportunities, and they just had to chip away. That's all they did in the second period, and it worked.
Redbeard, our man, Redbeard.
Yeah.
Says, let's go, fellas. I like a big bounce. I think a big bounce back is coming from the Oil. They've shown they're good in these back against the wall type of games. I'm taking my son tonight for his first ever Oilers game. It's going to be awesome. God, Redbeard, I hope it works out well for you, man. It's like somebody's always at their first Oilers game, right? And sometimes it's glorious, and then other times it's game 3. And you're just like, you're completely devastated. So, now, I think there is a difference. He does make a good point. I know we talked about it a bit on the show this morning. Game 4 against Vancouver had to have it.
Yeah.
Right? Got it. And then obviously game 6 and 7 were straight up must wins, and they got both of those. And Tommy, I thought they played well. So, maybe we look at that as the track record for this team right now and say you should expect a really well-played, tight game from the Oilers tonight against the Dallas Stars. But I have a hard time saying that just because I think Dallas is so good at dictating things themselves, right? Like, no disrespect to Vancouver, who gave the Oilers everything they could handle. But Vancouver and Los Angeles are not anywhere remotely close to what the Dallas Stars are bringing to the table. Are they?
Not LA. Not LA. For sure not LA. Vancouver, I think you could make a case for.
I think you could have. Yeah.
It's a different type of team. Like Vancouver, feisty, tenacious, embodying, old Rick Tocchet when he played. And then they had sequoia trees, as Dave Pagnotta likes to call it, on the smash hit Hello Hockey Saturdays from 10 to noon on EST and Sportsnet 650 and Sportsnet 960. Whereas Dallas can do it more smoothly with less like punishing defensemen and style of play, but they can outpace you, they can outskill you. So I think they are like comparable in a way to Vancouver, but just in a different style.
But a back against the wall game against Dallas is going to have to be better than a back against the wall game against the Canucks, don't you think? No?
I think you need the same level of desperation.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, with the way Quinn Hughes played in that last series, Pettersson was pretty much a non-factor. Their bottom 6 faded as the series went on. I don't see any of that with Dallas right now. So I think it's, and Shelov's had some great moments, but was not what Ottinger has been numbers-wise so far in this series either, right? So I think they're going to need to play their best game of the playoffs tonight to even this series too. Yeah.
Yeah. But I understand what you're getting at. This has to be a few guys' best game. Nurse, obviously, Broberg, who knows what we're getting from him, and the guys coming into the lineup in Perry and McLeod need to be really good. But yeah, the good thing is the silver lining or positive, because I know we've been talking about all the negatives and rightly so, but is this team, the Oilers, in tough situations, find their way to work themselves out of jams. They're in a jam. Is it as bad as a 3-1 deficit? No, but this is a jam. They need to be at their best, and the level needs to rise as the postseason progresses. So, yeah, but I still look at Dallas and I say it's the same type of level of commitment to the game that you need against the Canucks, and the Canucks are just a different beast in themselves, like the way that they play you. That's all I'm getting at. But
yeah, it's certainly not an unclimbable hill for the Oil. Like I'm certainly not saying that. Like this series could be 2-1 either way. I mean, it's been close enough. They've had lead. Yeah, it's been very close series so far. I mean, I still think this thing's going 6 or 7. So But yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out tonight. GCL Diesel pregame show from the satellite home studios where you are right now. That'll get rolling at 5 o'clock tonight. 6:30 is when it will wrap. At that point, Edmonton Sports Talk will pick up in progress the Edmonton Stingers game. They are out in Ottawa. So we'll give you the second half of that game. Then that game will end. And then shortly after that game ends, we will have your GCL Diesel post-game show as well. And what a post-game show it will be tonight. One way or the other, it's going off the rails tonight, Tommy. One way or the other, it's like they're back in this series. They've got the momentum. I should have never doubted them. Or full-blown, already taking texts for next year's trade deadline. It's like one or the other. So
no, I am not entertaining those just yet. We have a full summer, as even though it's getting shorter and shorter as the playoffs,
which I do
progress in
appreciate.
Edmonton. Yeah, I do appreciate. But we're not ready for those just yet. Like we're gonna have so much time, you and I, on this fine program to dissect and look into the future and what happens next. But we got to live in the now. Be in the now, Dusty.
We'll have enough time in the last couple weeks of June after, the Stanley Cup final ends and, they're there. And then July, July, you get free agency boom. And then you're into like mid-July through August to mid-September. We could literally have one show dedicated to trading every player every single day. Like if people are so bitter come off season time. So no shortage of time to get to all of the off season stuff. If you're looking for a place to watch the game tonight, all the Boston Pizza lounges will have you taken care of with the playoff menu. Fuel your fandom at Boston Pizza, the lounges, in the restaurant, the halftime square footer, flight of wings, triple play platter, and new Chipotle chicken quesadillas. Fuel your fandom at Boston Pizza. Like game 3, I am coaching baseball tonight. And we have a 6 o'clock kind of 20-minute warm-up / practice. And then the game starts at 6:30. And last game on Monday, I didn't have my phone, or I had my phone, but I was like, I'm not checking the score. I'm going to avoid it. We're PVRing the game. When I get home, give Marshall a quick bath, and then we'll sit down and watch the first period. And sure enough, Tommy, we're like 2 innings into the baseball game, and I hear one of the dads go, 2-0 Oilers. I was like, no, what are you doing? Like, you're ruining it. Like, I
heard you tell that story on the Nielson show. Did he say it like that? 2-0 Oilers.
Well, he said it. He didn't like yell it out over the whole crowd, but he said it to like the other dads who were next to him. And I was just like, dude,
you dork.
You're killing me here. You're killing me.
You're a dork.
So, but then at the same time, I mean, it's the Oilers. It's the Oilers in the conference final. Like, we're all idiots for not being there at home watching it, and we're doing kid sports.
Fair point.
So I was disappointed. But I can't necessarily blame the guy for following along live on an Oilers playoff game. It's
fair point.
It's a bet that I made. I should never support my kids' sports ever.
And I'm not rescinding the dork thing. We're all dorks. But if he would have done one of these,
for everybody who's listening, Tommy's doing silent actions right now.
Silent. I'm doing the miming 2-0. And then point to yourselves, that means Edmonton. I would have appreciated that more. So those that are keeping it a secret till they got home, because you're not the only one PVRing it, because you're going to miss some of the game. If he had done that, I would have appreciated, because he's got everything covered. Those that don't want it spoiled and those that need to know. If he did it that way, a little deceptive, quiet, under the radar, sneaky, that would have been appreciated. But
just bring a megaphone, man. Do the play-by-play while we're out there. What somebody should do tonight? Somebody should bring like a 50-inch smart TV and set it up behind the backstop so we can all watch the game.
Just walk around.
Yeah. No.
Just walk around.
Just carry it around. That's a good idea. That's not a bad idea either. So
you want to see what's going on in the game? I'm walking around the soccer field.
I like
the
that
baseball diamond. Yeah.
Look, I'm not bailing on coaching my son when I'm going to miss a bunch of games for CFL anyway. So I was just like, man, we're going to the game. We're going to watch it, and then we'll watch it together when we get back. And it was funny. I mentioned the story on the air, but like when he went to bed, they were up 2-0, but I already knew it was 3-2, and I'm watching him live his best life, and I'm just like, oh, you poor bastard. Like you don't even know what just happened in the second period. And then when he asked me, he's like, can I stay up for the second? I said, go to bed immediately. Like, you do not want your night to be ruined right now. So,
sweet dreams, young prince.
Yeah, let's get to one more text. Josh from Birch and Bear is in and says, guys, I just drove past Bob Stauffer. That is a good omen. I predict an Oilers victory tonight. Now, when he said he drove past Stauffer, I always assumed Stauffer was like LeBron and had a driver that like took him to and from everywhere he goes. Does Stauffer actually drive?
No, he has an F-150.
Stauffer drives an F-150? That's about as useless as me driving an F-150. I mean, if there's two guys in town that shouldn't have trucks, it's probably Stauffer and I. It's
you guys aren't hauling anything.
No, I mean, right now in the back of my truck, I've got 2 12-packs of 2 Hoots and a flat of 6 o'clock or lager.
I respect that.
That's it. What else do you need the back of a truck for, right? So, all right.
Bob doesn't even have a note bag with like crackers in it, a la Kramer. Bob just like walks around and that's it. His computer's up here.
Yeah, no, he
guy's
doesn't
an
need anything. You're right.
encyclopedia.
Yeah, that's a good point.
exactly.
All right, that's going to do it. Tommy will be back. 5 o'clock start. GCL Diesel pregame show. We got a Nielsen show replay coming up here as well right now. Before we let you go, let's do this. We do have the Saturday night VIP table at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. Just text in your prediction for the game tonight. Give us your score. Predict your game score right now to 780-218-9999. Zach will grab one of those names, and you will go into that VIP draw for the Kevin Hart Saturday night VIP table at the Great Outdoors Comedy Festival. Text your game score to 780-218-9999. The All Stream brought to you by Boston Pizza, presenting sponsor, playoff menu, now available at BP's. Tommy, you have good pre and post tonight, buddy.
Thanks, Dusty. Fun show, and let's see what happens tonight. Alex Petrovic is our guest on Rink Report. Check it out.
Oilers win. We're going to talk about it tomorrow morning. Take it easy.